almost hit the play.
You're really good at that. I cannot believe I still mess up on these cups. Like I'm supposed to put the straw. Here it is. Hello, everybody. How is everyone doing today?
How are you?
I'm doing good.
How was your week?
I actually had a pretty quiet week.
Yeah.
Nothing too fancy for me. I landed up... Probably the best thing was watching the Harry Potter for the weekend.
Yeah. I actually rewatched it, and took notes, so I can actually be prepared.
So you did homework?
Yep.
I did the right page and everything today. Woohoo!
Good.
That's why they pay me the big
everyone.
Bucks. Yes, thank you. And I know the podcast people on YouTube are like, what's going on? We do our live on the Goofy Geek page on Sundays, and it is 6 o'clock. Actually, it's a little past that. What is it?
6:02.
6:02, close enough. And then on Tuesdays, we release the audio on YouTube. And today, we are talking about the fifth movie.
2 more to go, peeps. 2 more.
Actually, it's 3 more.
Well, we're going to do 2 more.
Well, we're going to do 2 more because the 7th movie we're going to put into 1.
Right.
But, the big boss said she shared.
Thanks, Shannon.
Thanks, Shannon. That saves us time.
We should keep her.
Yeah, she's keep her. That's why the Goofy Geek Boutique sponsors us until someone knocks over their...
I told you this already, but Shannon, I brought this to work, the cup, and somebody asked me about it and said that she was probably going to look into our podcast. So thank you for the cup.
Yeah. If anyone's interested in cups or other products, which from hair bows to cups to keychains, they can go to the Goofy Geek Boutique. I know it's all confusing because we're the Goofy Geek podcast. We have the boutique, and we also have the Goofy Geek page. But hopefully we can get going. We're almost done with this Harry Potter. I know. You know what the problem is?
I'm excited, but also kind of sad.
I have to say, listen, when I started watching these, I felt to myself, we should do a podcast for each one. Because 7 or 8 movies is too much into one thing. So we're on the 5th movie, and I'm like, holy cow, this is long. Like, I don't watch them all. You watched the first time all one in one day, like all
2
of them.
days, yeah.
2 days.
2 days.
I've done it.
I started to lose brain cells.
Yeah, I would too. But I watch each one as it comes along. And...
which I'm now going to do because it's hard to...
try to remember everything.
Well, it's hard to know when one starts and one ends.
Right.
So...
Again, I said this in a future one, was that I've gotten to a point where I start to watch it, and of course I watch them all with Shannon. So when we turn them on, the first thing is I'm like, I remember this one. This is when A and B happens, and then
it doesn't happen.
Or just A happens. I go... Right. Oh, yeah, this must have been the next movie. And then it was like the next movie. Yeah. Or I'm still waiting for one thing to happen, which I clearly am still hasn't happened yet.
It's the last scene.
Oh, no.
But this one actually begins with him showing more of his PTSD. And, you can, it's starting to, really bother him. And people are, trying to help him. And he's just pushing him away. Yeah,
this is one where, but this is the one where I agreed with him, where he feels the weight of the world is on his shoulders, and I feel like it really is on his shoulders by himself. And I think as a real, I don't want to say hero, but when you think about it, you just think this is mine to kind of deal with. I mean, I don't know how everyone else thinks. I mean, I always think of I know other people would be Hermione would be yeah, well, we're all here to help you. And there's people how I would think of it would be Harry. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I'm going to have everyone get hurt. Right. Once again, Cedric died. Right. So now it's become real. Mm-hmm. So at the end of the day, who do you want? You don't want to see your best friends die. Right. I think about it, if I was Harry and these are my 2 best friends, from high school that I'm going through. And mind you, they're only 14.
Yeah.
And then you stop to yourself and you go to, what do I want these two people to be laying there like Cedric next to me? It's heavy. I mean, these are getting heavy. Like, what would you do? I think it's easier said than done. Mm-hmm. But I think he's pushing everyone away for their own safety without thinking. And of course, if you've listened to this whole movie, every single second, it's about numbers. From the old lady who catches Dudley and him into the eyewitness, and But
Dumbledore sent her, right? Or
right.
Yeah.
Right, like to keep an eye on him, and so you
thank God,
and you just go through this whole thing, and you just go to yourself, and you just say like, this is tough. Like of course, first of all, 14. I think of myself like, if I was 14, what kind of decisions would I be making?
Right.
Which I don't know if I'd be making these.
Are they 14 or 15? I think they're 15 in this one.
Okay. I thought they were 14, but I could be wrong.
You could be right. I could be wrong.
No, you're right. Because he's 14 in the he's 15. Yeah, he has to be 15. And of course, now we see him still living with his aunt and uncle still. Remember we talked about, we thought, that's what I'm talking about.
But I knew that there was one more scene that we haven't talked about yet.
I was like, oh man, we still with these guys.
Get out of here. Yeah.
And of course, I love the actor that plays Dudley. He
must be staying with someone else though, because he said, because there's a part where like when they're in the park, he says, "Are you scaring little kids or beating up little kids or whatever?" You know, like, so he's not like really Dudley, around him.
And I love Dudley's answer. He deserved it.
Right.
He had it coming to him.
Right.
You're like, yeah. Okay. I love the whole Dudley being this super badass, and you can clearly, he's at a playground. How do you are like 15 and hanging out at a playground and saying you're beating up kids?
Right.
Like, that just makes me go, what now?
Right.
That's
just crazy. Like, my mom always said to me, like, if there are teenagers at the park, you have to come home.
Right.
Because obviously, like, you just don't send your kids to,
right.
You don't know what's gonna happen.
I don't know. I love the kid who plays him, because he played, when they walk home and he's been like, I don't know, what do you call it when they get that, they drain you, they drain all the happiness out of you, and he's just standing there like, just like, just out of it.
Yeah.
And the nice old lady's like, oh, Dumbledore sent me, and
Dumbledore
sent me. And, don't worry about it, and this and that. And I'm like,
right.
Oh. And he's just like, oh. And then, of course, as soon as he gets home, the aunt and uncle like, what did you do?
Right.
And then he gets that, do we not all love Umbridge? We love to hate her. I mean, I think that's the magic of this movie, is right there, is that every time I've watched this movie, as soon as I see her in the audience during the thing, I'm like, oh, it's this movie. Yeah. And I right away go, I can't wait to the end. I feel like I'm 5, because I'm like, she's going to get in trouble. Like, I wait for it, because you know it. And I know a lot of people are like, well, you don't know that the first time. No, but I was praying.
Yeah.
You know what kills me is, I used to have a teacher that went
yeah.
Like that little, and it goes right through you.
It's really like.
That teacher that knows it all. Mm-hmm. Oh, I can't. What is this? Oh, Shannon wrote to us. What is it?
You would have thought by
You would stayed at the Shannon says, you would have thought by now he would have stayed with the Weasleys and not in school.
Well, I think this is his last time, right? I don't remember.
I don't. I actually, because I thought it was already the last time.
But I'm pretty sure this is the last.
But whatever it is, you can tell the aunt and uncle, as much as they don't really have the same type of power that they did have before.
Yeah.
So it's probably living with them is probably not as bad. I'm sure, maybe a lot of people have different opinions, but for me, I didn't think it was probably as bad, because the uncle just goes, this is the last time, like just
Right.
he's not really grabbing him, not touching him, not physically throwing him around. Of course, Harry's bigger, but
Right.
it's still not manhandling or overpowering him. But soon I had a teacher like that who would grab you. Like, this is, of course, now I grew up in the 90s,
Yeah.
like in high school. I graduated in 94. That used to take their fingers and put it right in the back of your arm and do that little squeeze, but not squeeze enough that like it'd just be like, oh yeah, that hurts. Oh, and be like, come with me. And there's always Mr. Perry or Miss, and it was
Right.
always like, and you were always like almost walking on your toes because she was always walking faster, and she was a small woman, and she never abused us.
Right.
I'm not saying she abused, but she always had that like one thing. And then in middle school, we had a principal. I won't say his name, but he used to have this thing where he used to point it right into your collarbone, and you couldn't move.
I never got in trouble, so.
Oh yeah, well, I only got in trouble like twice in middle school, and I really got in trouble. So like he came out of nowhere.
I got in trouble for writing a note to my teacher saying that I didn't understand it and that she should have explained it better to me because I honestly didn't understand what the assignment was.
Right.
And she gave me silent lunch for that.
Oh, well, I actually signed my mom's name to something that I shouldn't have. And you know what the worst thing is? I don't know why, as a young kid, we think we're so slick, because I'll think about how I did it, and I'm like, that looks nothing like my mom's
Right.
handwriting. My mom, obviously, and my dad obviously knows about it, because they had to come in. Oh, my mom killed me. I was more afraid of my mom than any principal. I was like, hey, whatever you have, let me stay here, because I
Right.
don't want to go home.
Right.
But I used to have a teacher like that. So, like, the second she would come on, like, I was just like, oh my gosh, I hate this lady. And I used, even to the signing, we used to have to write, I will not, and do like 200 and,
Yeah.
or 3 pages. And by the end, your hand would be so sore.
They don't do that for punishments anymore.
No, they don't
now
do
it's
that.
like you have to sit at your desk by yourself
Take a
in
nap
silence
or-
for lunch. Like, that's a punishment.
And that,
Silent lunch.
I can live with
No
that.
recess.
I can live with that.
Like, ooh.
I can live with that. But so like right away when she comes on, my brain goes to, oh gosh, make her quiet. It sounded like you were saying something's wrong, and it's like, trying to do that little spin on it. And then of course, I don't know about you, the best part is the signs on the school. When she's putting up all will not,
yeah.
and the guy, the best is the caretaker, because he's hitting it and the ladder's going further back and then comes back and he hits it. I'm like, it's like everyone stares at it too, because there was a moment I was looking at, I'm like, they're actually staring at him, like waiting for him to fall, because he's
Right.
like, tink, falling back and then coming forward, tink, falling back, coming forward. Oh, and I love the struggles where it was like power of like, well, this is my school. Well, this is my, I'm still headmaster. I'm still, that was the best part. And then, no, the second best part of the movie, when the boys decide they're done with school. The two twins, George and
Yeah.
Fred, right? George and Fred, right?
Yeah.
They decide and they do that little fireworks thing.
Mm-hmm.
The best is the little elf. Yes. Did you see that? I couldn't wait. That was the best part.
I really like the going back to like the beginning.
Yeah.
When Dudley's picking on Harry and like just hit like, I think he's making fun of him for his parents being dead, which we've talked about this before. Like, how is that funny or whatever? But Harry was like pushed to a point where he whips out his wand and like,
Yeah,
is it
yeah.
gonna,
And the
like
kids-
a gun, how you would with a gun, and everyone's just like laughing their heads
Right,
off.
and then
'cause it's
Dudley's
a
like, Dudley's
stick.
looking
Yeah.
at it. Dudley's like, yeah, guys, shut up now. Shut
Right.
up. Shut up.
Right.
And yeah, no, that was fun. They're like, look, he's got a stick.
Right.
Yeah, no, there were some great parts in that of like, you just get like, oh yeah.
Right.
You know, it's the weirdest thing is that these are little tips that you don't see in the you don't see when you first watch this movie.
Yeah.
I think that's what makes these such. Okay. Shannon and I went to Michael's, and when we got to the front, there's still magazines of Harry Potter.
Are you kidding me?
I am not joking. I showed Shannon. I go, Shannon, look.
Can I help you?
Kitty cat walking across.
Don't mind her.
Drive by. Like I said, look. We went to. I'm dropping all the big names here. We went to Walmart, and in Walmart, believe it or not, they actually had like brand new Lego, all these Harry Potter from like the movie, and I'm going, this is so old, and yet it's still coming out so strong.
The new generations who are getting to that point where it's like, oh my God, Harry Potter, and like all the parents who are like showing them. Hi, Ian.
Oh, Ian says, hey, Goofy Geek fam. Hey, what's up, Ian? Glad you can join us. We're talking about the 5th movie of Harry Potter. So go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt you. You were talking about the new generation.
Like the parents are like showing them like, oh, you have to like it's one of those movies you just have to watch.
And books, like same thing. Like everyone starts all over again.
Right.
But when I walked up, it was like the inside of making Harry Potter. It was like a thick book up front at Michael's, and I was like, okay, now I kind of see that at like Barnes and Nobles or something like that. But when I was at Michael's, I'm like, what is this doing here? Go to the next place, and because we're talking about it, I feel like it popping up everywhere. Yeah. It's consciously you start seeing it, and then I think to myself, how long have these movies been officially done?
Yeah.
I mean, Radcliffe has been in tons of other things. I've seen him in tons of other movies, and it's like you just think to yourself, how strong is this? How strong is this like story that where I don't even know 10 years later?
When was the last one? Somebody tell us in the comments.
I don't even know what year it was, but it's just crazy.
This one was 2008, I think, or 7.
Oh, so well.
And I think the next one's 2009.
So we're
I think 11 and then 13.
Yeah,
I think every other year. I think.
Yeah. I think something like that.
So almost 10 years later.
So it's just about 10 years later. That the next generation, there's still toys. There's still stuff coming out. There's still toys. I've seen tons of toys. If you go to Barnes & Nobles, there's a whole section just on Harry Potter, from wands all the way to the time necklace. You know, everybody's got something. I was like, wow. And it's weird because it's like I stop and think to myself like, okay, this is big, but this is years later, and I'm still looking at new stuff. And that just shows you, again, we're in the 5th movie here, and I'm just like, I think when you look back, they really are pushed all together, and you get like, wow, those were really good movies. And then when you're sitting watching them, you're going, wow. Because I know for me, there was a lot of moments I was like, wow, this is really deep. Like, there's a lot of stuff, like, even more. This is when we find out about Neville's parents more. You know, this is when we find the secret room that that keeps bouncing around for them. And then they start
and only
training.
certain people can find it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And the funniest thing, it's Neville that finds it. You know, the best. I love that line from Ron. So if you need the toilet, and then Hermione's like, yes. It's like
I got
exact the moment I was like, it was like I see my group of friends from high school saying the exact same thing. So if you really need a toilet, and then that one person going, yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Thanks for bringing that up. Like really, guys. But it's special too. I like the fact that I did. The most important message that I got that I really like that was put into the movie is when they go to Harry and they talk about him training him, and he said, and they start talking about the things that he's done. You know, they go from each movie.
Well, they had to find. Let's back up. They had to find this because the teacher refused to actually show you. You had to only do written word.
The owl exam.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Where there was no really defense.
Right.
Because they don't want to.
And he's trying to fight for well, what if something happens? She's like, nothing's happening. We're good. Like, you don't need it. And he's like, no, but I've seen it. So
well, they don't want to believe that he's back because we still don't want to say his name.
Right.
Like, it's still, he's not back. This is a story. This This is everybody else's.
Mm-hmm.
And they come up with 3 or 4 or 5 reasons.
Oh, and I also love that. Sorry,
Okay.
not to
No.
like break you, but like I love that Dumbledore only refers to him as Tom,
Yes,
and
I did.
not
Yes.
like Voldemort or.
Well, because he's personal. It's so personal.
Right.
It becomes like, I know who you are. You're not whoever you think you are.
Mm-hmm.
You're this
Right.
kid that I know. And you really, and it's funny too, because when you first watch this stuff, I mean, at least for me, I didn't get any of, like, you kind of just watch and you go, oh, yeah, this is great. And then me rewatching going, yeah, I noticed that too. Tom was said. I noticed the whole, certain things that you just go, wait a minute. Even down to that Harry's parents weren't as great as everyone says they were.
Right.
And then you have that moment where you go, oh, they're just normal people too.
Well, I think that they're also so well known too because they were killed by him,
Mm-hmm.
So like now you're a legend,
Right. Right.
So.
And there's sometimes the legend in real, but let's go back to what I was trying to say.
Sorry.
This is no. I love where you went with that. I did. The one part that I liked and I liked it because I felt it was a good message to people / kids, was when they talked about all the things, because they're like, Harry, we need help. Teach us how to defend ourselves. And they're in that little shack. I forgot the name of it, but they're in that little shack, and then they do the vote. And Hermione says, "Well, he does A, and he did B, and he did C, and he did, he took care of this all by himself." And then each kid has some story,
Right.
yeah, I remember when he did this. And then he gets up and he's like, "This is not fun and games. This is not school." And I love the fact is like, I got lucky. I had help. Oh no, it was all you. No, I had help.
Right.
Like, I stepped in it. Like, this isn't, like, it's kind of like the whole thing of being a superhero. It always sounds great.
Mm-hmm.
But then when you're actually physically got to do it, it probably is not going to work out the way you like. We always think about Superman.
Yeah.
And I watched I know, here we're going, I'm not trying to get too much on a tangent, but I watched that Superman and Lois. And I love the fact where he says, I have to hold back every day. Everything I do, I have to hold back.
Right.
Because if I slightly do anything anymore, I can, smash a car, crush, rip a door up, whatever. And you think to yourself, that's the stuff you don't think of.
Mm-hmm.
And like in Harry Potter, you think how easy it is. Like, yeah, I have a wand, I have magic, I can do this. But in reality, everyone has magic. Everybody has. And the difference is, even when, and this is a lesson that we do, one of the lessons we get from this film is that at one point when they're inside trying to get the prophecy, that they have rules the other side doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
Like, like all the spells that Harry teaches everybody has a line.
Right.
Nobody's getting killed. Everyone's getting disarmed, frozen, something in that manner.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other side is when, we have our next big character kind of go on us. It becomes like oh yeah, this isn't kid game, because we're so hyped when Harry teaches everybody. I don't know,
Right.
was it you?
Yeah.
Like, I was like, oh yeah, we're ready. Come on, bring it on.
Right.
And then when it had the moment, it was like, no,
We're not ready.
we're not ready. Like, this is that 14-year-old mind of we're ready to take on the world. And then we get into the situation and it's really a grown-up world.
Right.
Like, I always say, like, video games.
Mm-hmm.
Video games is not really war.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you're sitting there in a video game and someone gets shot, you don't have to still sit next to them.
Right.
Like, if you watch old World War I, World War II, people are dying and they're laying right next to the guy who's trying to walk up the same mountain or the same hill,
Mm-hmm.
which is like, you think to yourself, oh yeah, yeah. In real life, think about that.
Right.
Like, that becomes gloomy, and that's when it becomes like, again, each movie comes darker. And I found this movie really did that whole moment of like, okay, this isn't about, our last movie got darker about, yes, someone could die, but now we're even getting to a point where we had a war scene. Is that fair to say? Like a real fight scene. It was them against us type of deal.
Yeah.
And let's face it, and even Lucia says, well, did you think kids were going to be like, and then you think to yourself, yeah, these adults have been practicing whatever, however old they are, all different ages. And then these are the kids who've only 14, 15, 16, because they're all different ages.
Yeah.
And then on top of it, they have limits.
Mm-hmm.
They say to themselves, okay, we're not going to do any of the bad spells. They are.
Yeah.
And that's the part that I think, for me, changes the whole story of the whole thing in this one. This gets, for me, dark. Like, I just think these kids, like, we think it's tough in the first one. But I think in this one is when the kids really walk away. I mean, they become closer and they become stronger, but they also realize that this isn't like...
It's not a game.
It's not a game, and it's not over in 5 minutes. Uh-huh. Like, this is not...
And it's not easy.
Right. It's not, next week we're going to have 5 points for Gryffindor. Like, it's not that type of thing. Right. Like, it's going to be like, as they look around going, where do we stand? I mean, even when it comes to Neville, he's like, yeah, well, then you find out, like Neville says, well, they killed my parents. Mm-hmm. I'm here. I'm proud, but I don't want people to know. And then by the end, he's like taking out his wand, and the thing is like, I know her, and I'm taking, and it's like, no, stick with the plan.
Right.
And then even the plan is not, and you go, oh.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. For me, it was like, I kind of did that whole like, oh no. It was weird because I was so, I don't know about you, but I totally bought it. You know what I mean? By bought it, like I bought it in the way as I believed these kids, like when they were practicing and they became so good, and each one, I mean, even when Jenny does that one big one and then everything, like does the one big spell and everyone goes flying, and I'm like, oh yeah, like, and all of a sudden it's like everything's falling and then going, oh no, and Neville's like, run,
right.
Like,
he's such an important character in the last movie.
Oh god, let's not even go there, because I am, okay, first of all,
we're not going to talk about it, but...
No, but I do want to say one thing. I have seen pictures of Neville, okay? And
nowadays?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I can't believe it's the same person. Because this young boy who looks like he's a train wreck on a daily thing becomes he just a unbelievable, handsome man. I'm, not... It's just I can't believe it's the same kid.
Right.
Just because they... And they talk about how they put stuff in his ears, and he... there's certain things that he had to do.
Definitely Asian.
Yes. It's tough with Ian lands up saying something. What is it? Definitely ages them a bit going through those that experiences. Yeah, because they grow up so by the end of this movie, you feel like they're all looking at each other going, that didn't go the way we wanted it to go.
Right.
In their head, they had this whole... even at the end, he's like, Dumbledore says, I shouldn't have even left you alone. Like, I thought pushing you away wouldn't have caused this.
Right.
And it made things worse.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't even there to protect each other.
Yeah.
But the thing was, it was the kids who kind of kept it together. And, again, Sirius says, you're the next generation. Like, you're the ones that are going to... take it. Like, he already knows it, which is so odd for me, because if you go back to the first time, he's like, we were just kids, even though they weren't. They're old enough to have children, because obviously, but they were still on the younger side,
right? And
it was just like, oh man, I don't know. For me, it was very everyone, I'm sure if everyone has something different, they can write out and say something. Write to us right here on the Goofy Geek live here and throw out your opinion. But for me, it just feels like these 15-year-olds go from 15 to like 30 real fast. Right. And I love Luna.
Oh my god.
Let's just, I haven't talked, I just love her.
She's the blonde one, right?
She's the blonde, the cute little, the strange one.
Yeah.
You know what I liked about her is that she was a little girl the actress, that loved this part so much that she got very obsessed with it through the books, that she actually went out for this part and was, they said basically, like it was, she was the perfect actress, little actress for it, because she knew how she was going to act. She knew how she wanted her to be. Because she totally was her favorite character. Yeah. And I don't know. I always feel with everything, anything you're trying to do as an actor or actress, if you love the story or love something in a bigger thing, or you geeked out on it, it shows through the movie, TV show, anything like that. I'm a big fan. I always think like, you know, I know I always go back to Doctor Who, but like I think other Doctor Who's are great, but I always find the ones I go, oh, I really like this guy, and you're like, oh, well, I was a Doctor Who fan when I was a kid, and I know this, and it always throws in like, oh, this is what she would have done, because this is what she would have done in the book, and this is what she would have done in the movie. And I mean, even to a point where Harry drops Luna lines here and there, and you're like, well, he's about to kiss the what was her name? What was that girl's name? I forgot her name. But she's about to kiss her, and he says something. He says a Luna name, like, and she's like, "Wait a minute, what are those?" And he's like, "I don't know." He's like, "I don't know." It was like Luna had just said it.
Right. She's the only one who could see that horse too.
And him.
Yeah.
Here's the next question. Great. I'm so happy you said that, because I was about to talk about this. Do you know when they go, how we're going to get there, and like, oh, we're going to fly? So Luna, Harry, and Hermione get on those.
Luna, Harry.
Hermione.
You mean Ron?
Ron. And Ron get on those horses. Only those two can see them.
Right. So it's just
so what are the other two doing? Like, no way.
Right.
You can't pay me enough because they're holding on. They're holding on because they can see where to hold on.
Right.
What is Ron and Hermione doing? Like,
they just like going with it, you know.
Like,
there was a point before, like, because Harry was like talking to the horse or like staring at the horse,
right.
and like,
it's just
what
a
are
card.
you doing?
Yeah, right. So how do you ride
there.
something you can't see? Like,
right.
Obviously they get thrown on and they can feel something there.
Yeah.
But they're like, okay, they're gonna fly now, and be like, what am I holding on to?
Right.
I mean, I rode horses all my whole life.
Were they in a carriage too?
No, they're no carriage. They were just on horses. They were flying.
I'm pretty sure they were in a carriage.
Okay, so I didn't see that.
And there was the horse was taking them.
Through the air? No, not when they're going to school. Remember at the end of the movie? At the end of the movie, they're like, how are we going to get there?
I thought you meant in the beginning.
No, not
I was like, I'm pretty sure that's about
when they said how we're going to get there, and Luna says, fly, of course. Yeah. And then you see them all flying, but they're riding horses they can't see.
Right.
I've ridden my whole life. I wouldn't know if it was invisible.
Like, am I facing the right way?
I would. My luck is I'd be holding on to the ass end and be facing the wrong way and flying, because that would be mine. I'd be going, are we there yet? And by the way,
write it with faith, trust, and pixie dust. Oh,
there you go.
Here's a little Disney quote.
I know. Shannon says, you ride it with faith, trust, and pixie dust. And just for the record, I rode for almost 22 years, and I'd probably be hanging onto a hoof like in the sky going, I don't like this. I want my money back.
I also, right. So like one of the last scenes with like him and like right after Dumbledore and Voldemort fought.
In the ministry. Yeah, in the like lobby.
Yeah, so like Harry's on the ground and like being possessed by Voldemort or Tom, whoever you want to call it, whatever.
We'll call it Tom because we're baddies.
Right. He's in his head saying like, you're weak, and showing all these like horrific things that happen to him. Right. And Harry like snaps out of it. He's like, no, you're weak because you don't know what real love is, and like nobody will ever love you. Like, I feel you don't have anyone. I
feel like that was the whole, like, I feel like, all right, for me, there were moments where I felt like it was an afternoon special.
Yeah.
Because between the very first part, well, we have each other, to Hermione, we're all here. Haven't you understood that we're here to help you? I mean, I can go on, and Ron going, of course we're going to do it. Of course,
Right.
what's the plan? I mean, remember, like, what's the plan? It's like we get to a moment where Harry just says, oh my gosh. There
My
goes-
cat's got the zoomies. Hold on.
we literally, Harry wakes up and says, oh my God, you're right. I have a family here who I don't know, what's say 20 kids, three, realistic if you consider Hadrig, like almost three solid best friends who basically he couldn't do anything without. And then he realizes Tom really doesn't have anybody.
Right.
Like he's had to do everything on his own.
Yep.
Sacrifice things on his own, depends on other people who lands up messing things up because he's used to doing things on his own. And I think at the end of the day, he finally snaps and says, oh, I get it. You don't have anybody. No one loves you. You're just jealous because I have people that have done everything in their power. And of course, this is something in the next movie we're going to even get even more. This is such a hey, remember this moment, because
it's like just that little switch that
that you really have to understand. And then even to a point when he walks away at the very end and he goes, we have something Tom doesn't have. And what's that? And of course Ron says, what's that? A good reason or something to really fight for.
Right.
And you're just like, like you just get that whole moment. And of course, I don't know about you, but did they do that moment where they kind of pan back and then you see the kids all walking like this is it.
Right.
Like they're all together. It's the many against the few.
Yeah.
Where a lot of people, you don't see it. You didn't see it, or at least I didn't see it until that moment of going, oh, I guess only 5 or 6 of these people.
Yeah.
And yet we're afraid of 5 or 6 people. But yet there's, I don't even know how many that are in that shot at Hogwarts. It's too many,
I stopped counting after 3.
I did like the fact that I really didn't notice this until I watched it another time, which is, whatever you want to say this, is, did you notice how much they really showed Jenny a lot? They showed Jenny a lot.
Well, she's getting to that point where she's
becoming more important.
Yeah.
She's become, and I've noticed when we talked about Harry's love interest, how much I didn't notice it at first. I didn't even pay attention to her the first times I watched it, and not because she wasn't a good actress. I just didn't notice the moments. But if you watch her face and certain things are said, where Hermione says, well, I noticed someone was watching you didn't take her eyes off of you. And she just has that look I was like, oh, wait a minute. She does
Ginny's loved him since the beginning.
Right.
When she was first introduced. Because remember when she...
They won't stop talking about you, at...
Right. And then when he, when she first, saw him, she's like...
right.
Wide-eyed and
Again, these are things... We always laugh. I mean, I don't know. I went on YouTube and I try to watch more things on YouTube because I try to kind of get what people kind of watch and stuff. And I noticed one person kept posting up things that they do wrong in movies. I found this or I found that. And I kind of got to a point where it's like, why don't they show about the stuff that was good? This is a great thing. She's not even in play. But yet her character's already making faces. First of all, if it's the actress doing it, then good for this, good for the actress because she's on top of it. If not, then it's the director. Hey Jenny, they just said something about a girl that's taking the guy that you've been in love with. How would you feel, or whatever? I need you to look like this, and they're doing it. And I actually spent a lot of time looking at. Because of this podcast, spending a lot of time looking at not Harry. I didn't watch Harry that much. I actually watched all the people around him.
Right.
Even to a point where, the first movie, the fourth movie, we talked about the little spark between Hermione and Ron, where she turns around and says, well, why don't you get off your butt and ask me instead of being the last resort? And of like, hey, I liked you, I wanted to go with you, but you were being a stupid boy, and
Right.
And then this movie, you can just see they have little more moments together
Yeah.
where it's like, oh wow, I didn't even notice this, like, and again, I guess like to quote Shrek, it's like onions. There's layers.
The layers. I actually just watched most of that movie last night.
Yeah.
I was with my friends, and I didn't realize certain things that happened in that movie too.
In which movie? Wait a
In
minute.
Shrek.
Oh, in
Sorry.
Shrek. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's another time. Another story for another
That's
time.
another one. That's a definitely another one we have to do. That one's too deep. I have to watch that all over again because there's things that I remember seeing that I was like, did I just say that?
Well, there were parts in there. It was like, did that just happen?
Yeah, I know. I was like, my young virgin eyes can't see that stuff. All right, so I'm not young. Moving along.
You want to talk about these,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Now
or is there any more that you want to talk
No,
about?
no. I know you. We talked about this the last one because I told you I had found out little facts.
Yep.
And you said you were going to do homework, and that
I
you
did.
you were going to wait a minute. You were going to. I want to introduce this just right, so I get that you were going to look up all the meanings of all the spells names
Yep.
because I had looked up and I had realized it was in Latin, and so did you find that they all had Latin names? Like,
There's Latin, there's German, there's like a bunch of different ones.
Oh, so they
too.
all really do
They're
have
all,
a.
yeah. There's a meaning behind
It's
them
just not a word.
yeah. Yeah, there's actually
It's
it means
deep.
something.
It's
yeah.
deep. It's
Yeah.
deep.
I didn't do all of them. I just did like major ones or ones that
Yeah.
are like, like
I get it.
obviously like that's obviously what
big
that
ones.
means. But so, and I'm gonna butcher these.
I hate reading. I'm so glad you're doing this because I am bad at this stuff.
Yeah. I should have thought this through because I don't know.
I can't. You're really good at
So
this.
the spell that tells you that if a human is present, oh my god, hominum mobilo.
Yes.
So what?
Go ahead. Oh, I'm sorry. Not supposed to be looking at him. Go ahead.
You're making me nervous.
All right, backing off.
I feel like a newscast. So harmonious means man, and revero means to reveal, obviously. Or revelator is reveal. Oh boy, I really should have put pronunciations with these. Priori.
I'm trying to help you.
Incantatum.
Incantatum.
Okay. It's a reverse spell effect, so I can't think of a time that they used it, but it reverses whatever happened or whatever.
Like if something breaks, it reverses it.
Yeah.
Like it puts it all back together.
Yeah. So a priori is from the earlier, and incantatum is.
Doing so good.
I did homework, but it's horrible.
You're doing so good. Go ahead. This is
Alright,
getting back. This is getting back for the devil. For the devil, and I couldn't remember it.
Well, you talked about expecto patronum, which means
Right.
I expect a guardian. Or
Well, it had been. It wasn't guardian. It was
protector.
Protector, which
Yeah.
is guardian. Same thing.
Yeah. Wingardium Leviosa. That's a good one.
Yeah.
So wing is flight. Ard is from artist, and it means steep, elevated.
Oh, that makes sense.
And levy means to lift.
All right. So there you go.
Breaks it right down.
Wait a minute. So can we just take that 2 minutes here, not to interrupt your amazing reading of all these? How much work? Like, this just shows you how deep this is.
Right.
Like, I know I've heard a lot of people like, oh, well, she wasn't that good at writing. Like, writing, probably her grammar and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But screw the grammar. How much?
Right.
How much did she put into, okay, I want this to work. How do I make this work
Right.
for spells? First, in Latin is genius because it's old, because it's been, and most people don't even speak Latin.
Right.
I don't even think, I'm sure schools do. I'm sure some schools still, but used to, like when my parents were kids, they had to,
Like the origin and stuff.
like they had to learn Latin.
Yeah.
And that's how you would, for the origin, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Again, I'm sure there's still schools out there that teach that. I didn't have that class, but just the fact that she went through this, and you're saying there's other languages too, like like that.
I think there was like German.
She really, I mean, like I give her the hat off on this, because I think these are little details that people forget how much work is involved.
Right.
Because I believe this started off with just being a story that she used to tell her son or daughter, like her child, for bedtime stories.
Yeah.
And then ended up becoming something real. But I mean, we can tell stories, and I don't think she'd be looking up, or maybe she did for her kids, but just the fact that she,
Right.
I don't know. I don't know. It's impressive. I think we don't give enough credit to those little inside things.
Yeah. Well, I also looked up like each person's like the character names and like like what they symbolize and everything. So we'll start with Harry Potter, of course.
If you say it's a Harry Potter,
it's not. So his name is all about leadership, obviously, and so that his name, or like Potter, is English, Dutch, and Northern German. So like that's getting into like the other spells and stuff too.
right?
But his last name is just for people who make pottery. So like that kind of has nothing to do with it. But his first name is Harry, which is a king, and so like that shows like his like leadership and everything.
I was drinking. That was wrong. I had just said, please don't tell me it's Harry, something with pottery. And then you're like, yeah, it means to make pottery. All right.
So
that is funny. I don't care. That was a good joke. Go ahead. Take a sip of water.
So Ron's next. So Ronald is a Norse name for something I'm never going to say. So look it up yourself. And it's the ruler's advisor, which makes sense because he's Harry's sidekick.
Oh, yeah. All right.
Bilious, it means full of bile, which is ill-tempered, which he's a hothead.
He is hothead, yeah,
so,
he does.
And Weasley is Weasel, and he's...
I would say Weasley.
And it's it has nothing to do with his personality.
Move along.
But it just... Rowling really was fond of weasels. Fun fact. And Hermione, it comes from the Shakespeare's A Winter Tale, and it's the name of Helen of Troy and King Menelaus' daughter in Greek mythology, which she was into a lot too.
Right.
And then Jean is her middle name.
Right.
And it's actually, she changed it from Jane to Jean.
Oh.
Because she didn't want her name to have something as close to Umbridge.
Oh yes, I gotcha.
It's also Rowling's daughter's middle name.
I didn't know that.
And it means God is gracious in Latin.
Wow, that's actually really cool.
And we'll get to Dumbledore. He has 5 names.
Oh, do we have to do a whole 5? Can't we just do Dumbledore?
You just want Dumbledore? Or do you want to do all of it?
All right.
Well, some of them you kind of have to...
Okay, go ahead. Go. Hit me with it.
So, Albus is white in Latin, which connects to his beard.
White beard, yep.
Percival. It's King Arthur's knights.
That's cool.
And it shows for his bravery and sense of history and that kind of stuff. Wolverick he's known for his hardworking. Brian is a Celtic word for noble. He's definitely noble.
Definitely.
And Dumbledore is an old English word for bumblebee. He imagined Dumbledore to hum to himself a lot. Like bees do. Because of his love for music.
Yeah, I see him. Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
I'm following along here.
And Tom. We're going
Back
with
to-
Tom. He's my last guy
Okay.
for now. So Tom is the most common name, but it speaks how anonymous and underappreciated he was as a kid.
Right.
Um,
Which we find out in the next movie, which I can't say because it's the next movie.
yeah. So Marvelo means marvelous and to move rapidly. So like he's always like fast paced and stuff. Riddle is young Tom not being able to, or not being the boy that he seemed.
Mm-hmm.
And Voldemort is French. It's French for flight of death.
Now, if I'm right, you're not supposed to. It wasn't supposed to be pronounced Voldemort. It was supposed to be pronounced something else. And I don't
Really?
know. But she had wrote it out, thinking it was going to be pronounced a certain way, and it never got. It never. And when people read it, they read it Voldemort, because I remember hearing about that. But then again, I got to tell you, I love the whole moment. We talked about this in another podcast where he changes his like Tom Riddle, and then he changes it to I am Voldemort.
Yeah.
Which is like, I don't know. I love that stuff. I love when people take names and they
scribble it
around and they make a name or they have something like that.
Right.
I love that stuff. The last podcast we talked about the two actors, Voldemort's actor, and we talked about the new Dumbledore actor.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched this one and I really thought to myself, I really can't picture the first Dumbledore.
Absolutely not.
He was so, because I saw him in another movie
Just say it.
I know, I'm trying to think what movie it was,
Oh.
but I think it was the Gladiator. I think it was something like that. It was some movie where I think it was with Crow in it, and he talked the same way. Like he had that old man slow voice, and I was like, oh wow, this. I don't know if this is really him, or because there's some actors that they play themselves, but
right.
it's just different roles, and it kind of and it just fits. Like Tom Cruise is always Tom Cruise, no matter what movie it is.
Yeah.
So I watched him in this movie, and I was like, oh, he's basically Dumbledore. Like it's not much different here.
Yeah.
Then when there was moment where he does that in this movie, he's like, oh, what did you say? Because I'm definitely not going to be. What did you say? Going with you quietly or something like that, and then he takes his hand, smacks it, and the Phoenix makes him burn out. And I love that line. Gotta say one thing. Dumbledore has style. I love that line. Like, you can say what you want, but this guy's badass.
I feel like the first Dumbledore, it made him seem like Dumbledore wasn't really that important. Like, he was kind of in the background, And then when the other one came in, like, it might just be the way it was written, and it might just be, like, the actors.
Right.
But I just feel like he, like, really popped when the new one came in.
Right.
And he's, like, all of a sudden, like, getting more and more important. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think for me, I feel like the first guy kind of was like mysterious, quiet, soft-spoken.
Mm-hmm.
Like he didn't have a pizzazz to him.
Right. There's no spark there.
There was just kind of like, I've been around for a long time. I have wisdom.
Yeah.
I have authority. I felt like with him as an actor, you saw him and you were just like, oh yeah, this is the guy. Like I need to watch him.
Yeah.
The next Dumbledore comes in, and I really was like, he kind of gave it a little like, yeah, little like that wink and guns. Like, I'm saying A, I really mean B, but I really mean K. You have no idea what I'm talking about.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
it's, and this guy has a little more pizzazz. And I don't want to say pizzazz like he's trying to be something. But I love like the line from well, we're going back to the last podcast, but it was something. It's like, oh no, would you like a licorice snap? Watch out, they have a real bite to them.
Oh yeah.
And then and he kind of gives a wink and he walks out the door, and it kind of like, and then Harry grabs a handful and they all become like, I don't know, bugs, or they start, and then they're trying to bite him, and it's almost like, again, I try to put the other one in, and I just kind of don't know if he has that little like. And I don't want to take away from the first guy, because the first guy, it would just have been a complete different Dumbledore, completely different, which just shows you what kind of actors they're out there that can really take a role and make it their own. And then you think to yourself, well, this actor was supposed to have this role, not this one. And then you go, oh, well, how different this would be. Like the actor from Jim from The Office was, they said that he might have been Captain America instead of Evans, and I think to myself, oh, that would have been a whole different Captain America. Like that would have been a whole different,
Yeah.
And for me, I love this whole cast right now. I mean, even down to like, I love Snape. I love this guy. I mean, I love him and everything he does. It's such a shame he passed away. And this guy, just the fact that when he gets called into Umbridge's office and it's like, oh, do you have you've used it all up unless you want me to kill him. I am no use for you. And he's kind of like, I'm more than happy to kill him, but that's all. No, and it's like, and you're like, oh. What a jerk. But I like, he's that guy that you love to hate. Again, it's that guy you or hate to love. It's one or the other. Like it's like you're on the side.
You hate him so much you love him.
Right. Like even Umbridge, like you're just like, oh, I can't stand this. Like, especially when he does the writing and on the hands and the kids crying and Fred and things. It's like, hey, we got it on our hearts. It's okay. It'll heal. You know, you'll be fine. And it's like, you can just see the team coming along. And you're like, I can't wait this lady. And like the whole movie, I don't know about you, but I kept being like, I hope something bad happens to her. Like, I hope something bad happens. I hope she loses her job. I actually was hoping, because she was like, oh, who isn't out there? There is no Dark Lord.
Yeah.
Will be turning. I'm like, can she turn around and he's there? Like, I just like, that would be the perfect thing for me. It's like, please be there, turn around, have a moment that it's like, and of course it never happens, but even better happens, because again, Harry drops the best line in the whole movie. Tell him I'm a nice person. Tell him I cannot tell lies. And only thing I would have done different is that I would have had, like, Hermione, I want you to smile very big behind that. Like, I want you all to have a moment of like, nana nana boo boo, as this wicked woman gets carried away.
Right.
And it doesn't, they don't do that though. They don't give them that moment. They kind of just have that moment of like, because basically stuff is hitting the fan and they need to get back. And I don't know. It was just that moment. You're like, now, I don't know if everyone knows, but from the papers that she's fine. Like, nothing bad happens to her. She comes back, and now she's basically there's a trial going on, and the guy who's the head of all the ministry is basically had to resign, and basically, because they see him, Voldemort, at the very end in that battle. And it's kind of like, oh, thank God. But you're like, for me, I don't know why. I'll be honest with you. You know how Black lands up leaving. It's devastating. But a little piece of me wish it was the Umbridge. Like, like it was them. And I would have been like, yeah, I like that. Because I would look at it. Because I mean, if I was a kid, it'd be like, when I was in that classroom, in my head, I would have been like, okay, when you see him, I ain't doing nothing. Like, I'm going to be like, you can have this
out there.
It'd be like, yeah, you can take care of this one. I would have been.
That's
like,
all you.
It'd be like, hey, Tom. Yeah, I don't want you killing anybody, but this one over here, I'm not looking.
Like, she didn't teach us how to defend ourselves.
Yeah, so we're good.
So
I know for me, that would be my thing. I'm bad with that one because I hated her. I hated her, and of course, I again have to give credit to the actress because I think it's hard. It's easy to fall in love with somebody. I think in a movie.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's hard to hate someone. I know you're like, no, it's not. Yeah, it is. Because it's one of those things, I think, if you're a special actor or actress, you demand and you have to be a certain type of person to make you just go, oh, I hate this person. Like, I hate this character. Not really them, but you're like, I hate them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not easy to do. I mean, I've seen a lot of villains, you're like, yeah, okay. Like, I'm not really afraid of you. This is kind of stupid,
Yeah.
And then you get that one person you're like, and I like the fact that they worked on her so much. I mean, can I just talk about the one thing? I mean, I know we have the lovely cats popping up in here, but I shoot myself if I had to go into that pink room with all those cats meowing, all those plates. I would have been like, lady, this is torture. Can I just go take the quill and go kill, like, right on my hand, like someplace else? Because this is the worst torture. Because it's like, meow, meow. And they're all over the, I mean, what was that? What would you say? There was easily like 300 plates on that wall. Way too much. Way too many plates. And that for me, I was just like, oh my God. That's torture. And I don't hate cats. I like cats. Obviously, I play with your cats when they come over. But so for me, I just think 300 plates all meowing at me is a little bit too much. So, I mean, I think...
I'm not a cat person. So I would, like, literally lose it.
You live with 2 cats?
I know. I call them my stepchildren.
Your stepchildren? That's funny. That was a great line.
They're cute sometimes. I'm just not a cat person.
I had one cat in my life. I'm not a cat person. I am a cat person, but I don't know about... I lived with one. I have really bad allergies for cats. Mm-hmm. But so I always had dogs, but I loved the cat I had.
Yeah.
Oh God, I love this
You were
cat.
telling me about him last week.
Oh my gosh, I love this cat. It was the best thing. To a point that when I moved, I went down to Florida for riding for about 3 weeks. My cat almost died because he wasn't eating or drinking because he missed me so much at the time. And I had to be about 15, and I was like, he was like my buddy.
Oh.
Yeah, no, I came home and he was okay, but
he like ate for the next 6 weeks straight.
500-pound cat. No, but yeah, I remember definitely, but oh my gosh, that lady with that pink, like once was Harry opens the door and cracks it open. I'm like, is this room pink? Is this room pink? Oh my gosh, please. And she's like, That's the other thing. That little, I can't even do it. Like, that just goes right through me. I just get like, oh. And I love the step. Do you love the step scene with the 2 witches, if you will, with Umbridge and McGonagall? Like, she kept taking a step, which made her take a step, and then made her take a step, and then all of a sudden she's like, "Excuse me," and then she took the step down, like, "No, you have the right of way." Like, and you're like, "Oh, that is such a typical, like, try to get the higher ground, and at the end, you get smacked down to reality."
I love how the stairs move.
Oh yeah, no, I think that's so cool. Fall off. If that was me, I would have fallen off. Yeah.
I would have had a panic attack the entire time, but I think that's so cool for them.
I'd be like da 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 da, because I know what I would do.
You like miss it as it's like
because I would like, totally just walk and not pay attention and just be like, and fall like to the next one and be like, oh. I know.
There goes Niles again.
I know that's what I would do. I just would not be. I don't know. Oh, the other thing I complained about is he took down every single picture in the castle, the caretaker, and because of Umbridge, and I would have said Umbridge can hang them all back up again because when they go back and they do that pan of it, and you're like, Yeah, it's too many pictures. I'm
Right.
screwed.
Can't they just like put themselves down and hang themselves up?
I would have been like, it's magic, right? Well, we all have magic, right?
Right.
Um,
There's gotta be something for that. Like,
there's
what do you
always
mean?
something for something, but they don't. That's
They're
not
like,
how it
no,
works.
we gotta do it myself.
That's not how it works. It's always that way. I don't know.
What character do you think you would be if you were like that most describes yourself?
You know, I forgot his name, but you know the one that keeps blowing up in the first part, the first movie, he kept blowing his hair up and his eyebrows. The one who tells Harry in this one that he didn't believe him because his mom had said.
Yeah.
I can't think of his name, but I'd probably be me because I'd probably be forcing, because I'm one of those people that, like, if I can't get something, I'll just keep forcing things. And
Yeah.
so I could see myself blowing myself up and be like, oh, just my eyebrows finally grow back.
I just had my eyebrows done.
I'd probably be in, see, I always wonder about this, though, because that's the one thing I never looked up was the different, houses, like because
we should take our test and see what place it would be.
I don't even know. I'll probably be in Ravenclaw. I
Just
definitely, I'm definitely not in. I definitely or that or Hufflepuff because I don't know because when I run I huff and puff. But
I knew you were gonna do something with that.
that's funny because Shannon loves hockey, and there's a player who doesn't play anymore, but he played for Boston, and I never can remember his name. And she's like, oh, it's Razor, just call him Razor. And I'm like, so I'll be like, I was on the phone, I was like, Ravenclaw. She's like, that's not his name. And I'm like, well, it's Ravenclaw.
It is now.
And I feel bad for the man because he's like, really good goalie for his
Right.
time. And I'm like, Ravenclaw. And she's like, okay, no more Harry Potter for you. I'm like, yeah, I can't think of his name.
Nails, you would be Weasley. You'd be a Weasley.
I would be a Weasley. Can I just talk about he got another thing with an R on it? I was like, and he's walking, and Hermione's like, oh, why won't you wear it? I'm like, I wanted to be like, Hermione, every single piece of clothing has an R on it that my mom made.
Right.
Give me a break. I would be a Weasley. No, I probably would be a Weasley. I don't know. I liked the Weasleys. I liked Fred and George. Yeah. I think their characters are, to be honest with you, they're closer to me because I feel like there's moments where I feel like laughter, especially when I was in high school, like laughter got me through bad situations, kind of like laugh at yourself. We talked about this in the bully thing, but so I mean there's a lot of me would probably be like those guys, or at least that's how I feel about it. But where would you be? Where would you think you'd be?
In what house?
Yeah, what house, and who would you be? Because we definitely know you're definitely not Hermione with pronouncing spells.
Oh my god, I'm definitely not Hermione.
You don't read either.
So I'm Hermione.
Yeah.
Probably
right.
Hagrid.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Because like
You're an animal person.
yeah, but
Except cats. No, you really are because you rode horses.
Yeah.
You've done other things.
yeah, but because he always like almost says something, but he's like, "Oh, just kidding,"
No, I know I shouldn't have said that. Or
Right.
I shouldn't have said that.
Yeah.
That is.
But he knows the gossip too.
Yeah. That is the story of my life. Because I always like, oh, Niles, what's your opinion? Oh, I probably shouldn't have said my opinion.
Right.
like I probably should have said that.
Yeah. House though, I don't
Yeah.
know.
See, I don't know
I
what
don't
the
really know the
houses are.
difference.
See,
I know Slytherin is bad.
Well, it's not bad.
Well,
it's
not
really
bad.
not.
It's just like they're.
It's something about like strong. If I'm right,
You could be multiple houses too.
You really can. How do you do that?
You can. It's like.
Seriously, how can you be
So
in
like
two
you
houses?
can. Well, I know that like
Ashley.
you could have like qualities of two houses.
Oh yeah, you can have qualities,
Yeah.
but you're always in just one house.
Yeah.
Because I know it's like
And there's certain tests that say like you're mostly this one, but
right.
you can
No,
have
I
this
know.
and this. And
Yeah, I know. There's always a test. There's always a test.
Yeah,
citing
and we should
something.
take one.
All right.
The same one. So that way it's not like different
Like
results. Well, not different results, but
no,
like
I know what you're
different.
saying. Like different
Yeah.
different things to get into each house, and then mine was harder than yours, or
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Whoop! I shouldn't have said that. Yep.
You guys should let us know who you think you would be
Yeah.
and what house you're in, or you think you would be in.
Yeah, I know. Podcasters, there, you guys can put stuff in the comments.
Yeah.
Trust me, we get tons and tons of comments. Not. No, we did.
We got a couple.
Your grandfather wrote to us.
I know. I commented back.
He did. You did. I can't comment because I'm not part of that, so just you can.
I can give you the login and stuff.
Oh, all right. That sounds good.
Actually, you can comment underneath too. It just wouldn't be from
Right.
Goofy Geek. But I'll give you the login.
Well,
if I remember it.
You're becoming part of the page too. I just haven't. We have to sit down and go over that.
Yeah.
Next Sunday.
Kay.
We have a little more time because you'll be part of the page. Yeah. No, I don't remember. And but I don't know. So this is the one thing that I think. It's funny because I thought the last one really changed us.
Mhm. Well, each one's gonna change you.
Right.
Mhm. It gets so dark.
Yeah.
I mean, it's supposed to, but like.
I think this is
that onion center, you know. It's got the most bite to it.
Made me cry. You know. Okay. All right. Truth here. Truth. I cried in this movie.
In this one?
Yeah, I cried in this movie. I think it's I cried when because I'm a crier anyway, so we already established that. I won't even taking my manhood off the couch here. Is that literally when they were on the bridge? Oh yeah. By the way, real quick, did you notice he's always in solid and everyone else is in stripes?
Who?
Harry's in solid clothes, and throughout that whole movie, everyone who stands behind him is in stripes or plaid or something. I'm like,
I didn't notice that.
I did. It drove me crazy because it was literally every scene. I'm like, did he not get the memo?
There has to be symbolism to that.
Like they're on the bridge. Hermione and Ron both wearing striped shirts.
Mm-hmm.
When they're all on the bridge with Luna, Neville, and Hermione and Ron, all wearing design like stripes, or like even Luna kind of has a little like plaid. Is they're all wearing, and he's wearing solids. Somebody
look it up real quick.
No, I don't need. I'm telling you.
I want to know the symbolism though.
That. Well, then you can look up for
I
next
guess I
time.
can do it.
But if you want to go back and look at that, you look at that. Like it, you can fast forward and just go through the movie and literally be like, oh yeah, this is crazy. It's crazy. I was like, oh, that's weird. Then the next time I was like, okay.
We get it.
Then I said, Shannon, is it me? And then I was like, wait a minute here. Like she's like, yeah. And then when I pointed out, she's like, oh my God, you're right.
Yeah.
So wait a minute because I totally lost that whole focus right there. Because I totally talked about the shirt thing that bothered me in this.
There's always one thing that really bothers you in each movie.
Yes. Because I always think to myself like, all right, the odds of that happening once, okay.
Right.
And then throughout the whole movie I go, again? Really? We all have to have striped shirts? Oh, wait. So I think Shannon just wrote. Oh, no. I thought Shannon wrote something. I was going to be like, see, she saw it too. It drives me crazy. But
what was your other point?
My other point was about how I cried about when Neville says, oh, you were just all talk when you were just in the room about us all working together. Because he was talking about going into the get the prophecy, and they were like, we're all here for you, and he's like, no, I'm not going to have anybody else hurt. And then Neville stands up, and I think this fact is, again, Neville stands up, so you're all talk. So this was just all, just practicing just for nothing.
Yeah. And
then he was really like, oh, okay, and it really had that moment of like, I don't know, it was a real moment for me that I don't know if I got like. I got a little teary-eyed for me because it was more of like how much they really all respect each other, like at that moment. And of course, it's the same crew. It's the fifth movie, and there's chemistry there that like they must all get along to some degree because there's a chemistry between everybody where you feel at that moment like, yeah, you will really all just talk.
Yeah.
And he's like, all right, come on, but we all know the danger, we all get it.
Yeah.
And then of course, and then when we get to that moment, they all get captured, and just like, oh gosh. I mean, what did you think when the kids got captured? Didn't you just have that moment when you had to give them up? You're like, I would have smashed it right then, though.
I don't know.
I'm again. This is one of those things that's amazing. I can sit here and go, what would I do?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I think Harry is such a special kid, or written in a special way that I'm never Harry Potter. Like my life didn't equal to his throughout each things in my life of being 15,
right.
Because I would have just smashed it on the ground and be like, well, if I can't have it, neither are you, and it would have been the end of top. Like there's a lot of things would have. I'm always the first one dead in a horror movie anyway, because I'm like,
they come after me, it's fine.
No, I'm the first. No, because I'm the first one who grabs the whatever sword, chainsaw, like whatever, and being like, all right, it's me or this thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, this thing probably won't live. Like it's a ghost. It'll go. Yeah, I'm going out fighting. I'll be the first one dead.
Yeah.
So that's how I am in a horror movie. You're the last one, right?
Oh no. I would be the one to be like, okay, you can come after me, it's fine. I don't know. Maybe I'd hide.
You're the shower scene. You're like, what? There's someone bad here?
The clueless, yeah. What? Like walk into the room, like obviously they're gonna come in the room. Like leave the house.
Oh God, I always love those movies, and I always love those movies where, see, that's one thing about Harry Potter that doesn't do. It doesn't do the dumb things. Like he never goes like, oh, maybe I'll go upstairs to the attic, or maybe I'll go. He never does anything that make you go, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like there are some things where you go, I get why he has to walk in there. I don't know if I walk in there, but I get it. Like, what is he supposed to do? Like, he's screwed outside, he's screwed inside. So it's like, oh, just do it. But every other movie, you go, don't go in there. What are you doing? Don't go upstairs. But half the times, I always think as an adult, you would do it anyway. Like every horror movie, if you heard noise in your house. Like, you have two cats. You hear a noise in the living room.
Honestly, last night, Kelsey slept away. She was house sitting.
Oh, yeah?
And I heard a noise, and I just stayed in bed. And I was like, I can't do it.
You really?
Yes.
So
I always think that people, like, looking in the windows at night. It's you.
It's me.
I know. But, like,
That's creepy.
I, like, literally, like, run away and, like, hide in my room until, like, the morning or, like, Kelsey comes home.
Oh, that's funny. No, I go look. I go look.
Oh, no.
Well, I got something in my hand, though. Let it be known. I got a baseball bat, and I have a cane sword. And everyone's going to say, what is a cane sword? It's a cane that you pull it out, and it's a sword. And I don't remember how I got it or when I got it. I remember I was younger. And I was like, yep, well, one of us is going to die here. And you're going to have an ouchie by the time I'm done. But, oh no, I was watching something about in irrational fears. And
I have a lot of those.
You do?
Yes.
Okay, so I heard a woman on the radio. I won't say her name, but I heard a woman on the radio talk about she's afraid that when she's in the pool, that as she's swimming away from the deep end, a shark is going to bite her. And there was another person at the radio station that agreed that had the same type of fear.
What are the odds of that?
It's
in a pool?
Well, that's the
No, but like, what are the odds of two people having the same fear in a pool?
Well, supposedly it's a big one. That's like a big one. Like if you look it up, a lot of people have that fear.
But why would there be a shark in the pool?
But that's the the crazy, like that's the object of it. It's something that can never happen, but in your head you have. It's kind of like I don't have this anymore, but I remember when I was younger going up the basement, going up the stairs, and have to, problem is my lights now have two different things. Like I have an upstairs and a downstairs light. So what happens is when I turn off the downstairs light, I have to walk up, and there's still light, and then I have to turn up the upstairs. So when I close the door, it's not scary, but when I first moved in, when I hit the downstairs, all the lights would shut off. So I was in the dark walking up the stairs. So in my head, I always would think there's something about to grab me.
Oh, yeah. I have that. Okay.
But I don't have that fear anymore because my lights have changed. So I actually, even when I have to turn off the lights and it's dark, I don't have that fear because I'm like, okay, I've done this enough.
Yeah.
There's nothing going to grab me as I get sucked down to the darkness.
This is going to be one day. So I have one. You're going to laugh at me.
Okay.
I don't really have this anymore, but as a kid.
We're going to do a show on this. There's definitely a show on this.
Okay, sounds good.
No, we know what? We'll wait on this.
Okay.
Because I do have one.
I have a couple of them.
Okay. So let's do a show on this after we're done with the Harry Potter.
Sounds good.
Because this is actually a big deal. Like a lot of people have this. So let's give it a proper show, and then people can actually watch and agree or really add in on this.
Okay.
So
I'll save mine then.
Okay. Well, I haven't even told
one
mine.
of my 400.
Do you really have a lot?
I have a lot. I have anxiety.
Yeah. Anxiety
about everything.
All right.
Living.
All right. So that's the end of our Harry Potter. Which this was the
fifth one.
The fifth movie, which was the I don't want to say Rise of the Phoenix.
Order of the Phoenix.
Order of the Phoenix. There you go. And I thank everyone who came out and watched on the Goofy Geek. Again, remember the Goofy Geek podcast gets put on YouTube. So this discussion will be on Tuesday, 8
a.m.
And hopefully. If you want to be part of our discussion, if you listening to us on YouTube, you can find us on Facebook on Sundays at 6 o'clock Eastern time, and you can come and harass us. And we've had some nice people talk to us. We've had some bad people talk to us. We don't care.
Firefly gets brought up every...
Oh, we didn't say Firefly!
Every podcast. Well, I had to put it in there.
I know. I failed you. There you go. Looking for my back. All right, so this is it for us. So bye and thank you, and we'll see you next Sunday for the sixth movie, and we're doing the seventh as one if you're interested.
Yep.
All right, guys. Bye.
Bye.